just for you. We talk film, TV, both old and new. We discover new things, our taste get broader. So here's the show's host in no particular order. He's a little rough, he's a little caustic. Everybody knows the best, the one and only toxic. From way up front, you find another the start. You forgot to press like when you scream yard. Stupenzolicious gonna judge you on your sense of cool by asking you what's your favorite Mexican food. You shouldn't tell secrets, but you know that he can. It's the Hollywood goss from an inside man. One by Lindsey sometimes drinks cappuccino. Everybody thinks he looks like Quentin Tarantino. So come on in and join the Nielsen ratings. It's a show that you've all been anticipating.
And on, welcome to the Nielsen ratings 61. That's one above 60. Anyway, sorry for starting a little bit late, but that's what happens when we have last minute discussions on Mexican food. So let me bring in my panel, and we may have one or two extra guests tonight. We shall see. First, but by no means least, it's the Inside Man.
Evening. How are you?
Good to see you, sir.
Yeah.
No, what a great interview. What a great interview.
It was great. Yeah, really enjoyed that, actually.
Fantastic guests. Yeah.
I mean, the pair of them were great guests, weren't they?
Yeah. Thanks to the 5 people watching, tuning in thus far. Please do a post about the stream on your social media. Let's see if we can get a few more people. Very difficult to know. The numbers are so inconsistent these days, but we will persevere. Next, all the way from the northern wastes of England, Northern English bastard.
Evening, you beautiful bastards. Or afternoon for you fellow Americans.
Now, you're not still manning your computer naked, are you? We don't want any other accidents.
Well, it just gives me a nice burst of confidence, you know.
We also have, talking of confident men naked, we have the Lord of Toxicity.
That is me. Fantastic.
We should all get naked for our streams. Everyone should.
Well, listen, man, you've got your own channel, so on your channel, you knock yourself out.
Oh, we're not supposed to do that. I didn't know.
I'll be supporting from the sideline.
Yeah, I mean,
last
I
but by no means least, my regular co-host for the Nielsen ratings and the man who produces 1,000 thumbnails, and I'm about to give him a big list of ones I need doing urgently. It's Stupenzolicious.
Hello. We're an hour late, actually, because you guys in the UK have not done the daylight savings yet.
No.
So there'll be a few weeks where this is going to be at 5 my time now. Fun.
Oh, well. Yeah, that's a difficult time. It's like, do you eat before or after the stream?
After.
So, yeah, I hear that. Good to see Aaron is here. But yeah, we seem to be devoid of many regulars this evening. I don't know why. I don't know if that's anything to do with the time change or who knows. Anyway, we shall continue. So the Nielsen ratings, bringing you the best of the stuff from the streaming platforms that we're going to recommend for you to watch, and also some oldie films that sometimes you might have to get hold of by any means possible. Also joining us tonight, supposedly, is Kung Fu Hot Dog, who I met first at the London meetup. He said he was going to arrive in the green room at 9:45. Now, it is possible maybe he's on American time. I don't know. But anyway, he's got the link, so I'll add him as and when he arrives.
You tell him it starts at 10, and he's going to come in 5 hours from now.
Well, that would be interesting because no one will be here. Got a few different things to recommend for you tonight, both older and new. Now, just a couple of announcements. So we will be covering at least one Gene Hackman film every week. For the rest of 2025 on the Nielsen ratings. So we'll mention at least one every week. Also, I've got 3 books coming out this year. In the next couple of weeks, as soon as Stupenzo has done the cover for me, the making of the Magnificent Seven Magnificent Egos, that will be being published. That's my play on the making of the Magnificent Seven. It's very funny satirical stage play. I think people will enjoy it. Hopefully, we might even get to perform it at some point. I may even consider doing a performance on this YouTube channel. So just like the live streams we did in lockdown, but we shall see. Secondly, after that, I've got my Back to Raving at 50 book coming out, which I'm currently writing at the moment. I'm about halfway through that. Lots of entertaining stories involving old people dancing. And then finally, I don't know if it'll be out before the end of the year, but I have committed in public, and I'll do it again because it will make it a reality. I am going to write a biography on the work of Gene Hackman. It's going to be called Gene Hackman, All About the Work. So the focus of the biography will be very much his films and his performances, not kind of, gossip and who he dated and that sort of thing. So it'll be all about the work in the book. And then here he is, live on camera, complete with bandana, as if it was a Karate Kid stream. It's Kung Fu Hot Dog. How are you,
Sir
buddy?
Lancelot, how are you, sir?
It's good to see you again.
I take my coffee like I take my women, white.
You see, I can tell it's already going to be a fun stream. Welcome to the Nielsen ratings. Got 6 of us here tonight. So,
hello, gentlemen. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Good. And it's very good as Stupenzo to come on camera, so you're not the only one.
Might as well.
Well, I've got DVDs to show off, so I can't really do them behind a hidden camera.
You do. You do what I do. You go and trawl the charity shops, don't you, to see what there is. And
charity shops I love. I mean, I'll get into that later on, but Sunday was like, it was almost like a heist movie, but you paid for the goods before you left the shop. So it was kind of really cool what I found.
Well, we'll get into that in just a sec.
Yeah, no worries.
I picked up Rambo 1, 2, and 3 on Blu-ray.
Awesome.
£2 each. I mean, that was pretty good deal. And it, it's you got to sort of do a regular trawl of London's charity shops, but there are occasionally things to be found, in addition to, of course, the discarded underpants of the Inside Man.
Yeah,
right. So let's move on to our first, and it is a recommendation rather than an avoid. We don't do that many avoids on here. We do a few, but not many. So keeping the pledge to honouring the work of the late, great Gene Hackman, one of his films that I realised I hadn't seen since it was first released, and I could remember almost nothing about it because it's in that period of time a few years before I had my brain injury. So it came out in 2001, and my memory between 95 and 2004 is almost non-existent. So many of the films I saw in that time, I can't remember at all, but I had seen it before, because I just, when you're watching it, it's like, oh, I remember this scene. So there was I had a couple of little flashbacks. Anyway, and that was Heist, which is written by David Mamet, who, of course, is an incredible stage writer, and he often writes these kind of sort of duplicitous stories about, kind of white collar and blue collar men clashing in environments where one person's usually trying to rip off the other person for money. Heist is sort of the ultimate kind of double cross, triple cross movie. I think Mamet directed this one as well, if I remember rightly. Yeah. And stars Gene Hackman, Delroy Lindo, but you've also got a young, what's
Sam
his
Rockwell.
name? Thank you, Sam Rockwell's in there, and he's great. And this was around the same time that he did Galaxy Quest, so his career hadn't quite stratosphered yet.
Ricky Jay, famous magician, he's also
Rebecca
in this.
Pigeon.
Rebecca Pigeon is very good in it, and it even though there's quite a lot of physical stuff in it, and even though there's some action, it does. It's the dialogue is so shit hot. It could almost be a stage play. You could adapt this and put this on stage quite easily.
I think he was more of a stage playwright.
Yeah. I mean, David Mamet is a giant in theatre, absolute giant in theatre.
And Rebecca Pigeon is Mamet's wife, isn't she?
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
See, Kung Fu Hot Dog. I knew there was a reason we brought you on tonight.
I'm a font of useless knowledge.
There you go. You've been prompted up into the middle area now.
She shows up in a lot of his films, Lance.
The Spanish Prisoner.
I don't
really good film.
I don't keep massive tabs on who's dating who, but yeah, okay, very good. All right, Rebecca. Well, Rebecca Pigeon's good in it, so it's not like his wife's in it and she's not very good. She doesn't earn her place. All the cast, I would say, good. I don't want to give too much away to people who haven't seen it, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who won't have seen it, but it's kind of like a chess game. Like I said, cross and double cross. I've got to give it a really high rating. I mean, for the acting, I'd give it 9 out of 10. I think overall as a film, probably an 8 out of 10. And Hackman, of course, is great in it. It's not one of his finest performances, but it's certainly one of his good ones. So Toxic, I know you just rewatched it. Do you want to give me your thoughts quickly? As we've got the sand timer is on.
Yeah, it's one of the best of the heist movies that came out in the early 2000s. Of course, Gene Hackman elevates it to top tier stuff. We had a lot of these, like I said, early in and around that time at the millennium, and like you said, Sam Rockwell gets his start up in this, and it's a lot of Mamet speak, but I think it's got some of the best Mamet speak. I say that in the way that Mamet does kind of this Shakespearean dialogue that has like double and triple meanings in the things that people say, quotes that you'll hear. You watch other of his movies and his TV shows like The Unit, and you'll hear these phrases, oh, is that the thing? He's the guy behind the guy, and the door is closed, and all this kind of stuff. Danny DeVito manages to pull off an amazing performance, making him actually being scary. Little Danny DeVito is actually frightening in this movie, and it's your standard heist. We're gonna go get the gold, and we're gonna do it and try to double cross, and someone's gonna double cross us. But I mean, I really don't. I think it's more down to the performances and how much you like these characters, and not everybody can pull off the Mamet speak, but everybody in here is completely firing on all cylinders. I really enjoyed rewatching it. I'm so glad that you brought it up.
Yeah, cool. I think most people don't appreciate it's actually Martin Weir playing Danny DeVito in this.
Oh yes. Oh, you're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
Who else has watched this recently? Anyone?
Not recently, but I have seen it.
I've seen it a few times. I remember watching this in high school. Like, this was a good one.
What, like actually in high school, or
no?
No, during the time you were at high school.
During lessons.
Yeah.
The teacher didn't like wheel in a massive television and say, hey, we're going to watch a Gene Hackman film today.
I mean, this would be I'm not going to lie. This would be a pretty good movie to bring in, especially if you had like an English lit class or a theater, especially a theater class. I mean, because this could be a stage play, really.
Yeah, I remember Danny DeVito kind of being like the bad guy. He has like one of the best death scenes ever. Spoilers. It's like, what does he say? He's like, don't you want to hear my last words? I just did. And then he shoots him.
Yeah, that's a good line.
So good.
That's a good line.
DeVito is at his best when he's an asshole. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Matilda.
Is he scarier than the Penguin in this, though?
Yeah.
I
don't
think he could beat that.
He definitely is scarier than the Penguin. Now that I've seen Colin Farrell play Penguin, DeVito's Penguin is almost not on my radar. Sorry, Tox, what would you give it out of 10?
10 out of 10. This is unbelievable. This movie stays in my top at least 15, maybe shortly. I mean, it just edged out of my top 10 movies. It's so good. It's definitely the best of the Mamet movies.
It's up there for you. Okay. Inside Man, what would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, I'd give it an easy 8. I mean, it's a very, very good film. And I couldn't agree more with Toxic. I mean, it's as Mamet as you can get. I mean, it is beautifully written, but again, beautifully acted.
I love this actor on screen now. I forget his name, but
Ricky
he
Jay.
played. Yeah,
Yeah.
he played the director of photography in Boogie Nights.
Yeah, Ricky J.
Ricky J.
Ricky J. Is he still around?
No, I don't think so.
Oh no.
Shame.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I
he's
was gonna
the henchman in Tomorrow Never Dies as well,
Yeah,
isn't
he died in 2018.
Oh no.
Did he? Oh,
I mean,
man.
He was old in 1997, so I mean, yeah.
I was thinking he would have been a great guest to get on.
Well, you guys should
great
check out
character actor.
because Ricky Jay is a famous like card magician before he was in Boogie
Yeah.
Nights and stuff, and he's
Yeah.
in the
Tomorrow Never
Prestige.
Dies.
He's in the Prestige briefly. Yeah, that's why he has a lot of cameos as like card dealers or magicians. He's the narrator in Boogie Nights. He's also one of Jimmy Gator's dudes in the show. But yeah, Ricky Jay, man, you should definitely watch. Like he was on those like early 90s magician specials, world's greatest magic, and he'd be like in like a tiny room like doing card tricks for a bunch of hot ladies and stuff. It's cool.
I'll be sure to track those down. What would you give this out of 10?
Oh, like a 9, because it's one of those things where I liked it in high school, but then watch it a few times later, and it's like it gets better when you're older,
Yeah, it does.
Okay, cool. Northern, what would you give it out of 10?
I've sadly not. I've tried to watch it earlier, but Toxic sent me the link on YouTube. It's bloody blocked in this country.
Okay, so that's unrated for you because you didn't get to do your homework. Kung Fu Hot Dog, have you watched Heist before?
I saw it in 2001, and I believe I watched it at the cinema back then, because back then, gents, when a film landed at the cinema, whether it was an indie or a blockbuster, you would go and watch it because ticket prices were cheap. But guess what, Lance? While you were talking about this, I went on Amazon UK to look this up on DVD. It's 20 quid. So what did I do? I went to CEX, £1, including delivery, making it £3.95. I will be getting it here by the end of the week, and I'll watch it then.
Yeah, I think I have Heist on VHS back here behind me somewhere. Yeah,
that's a good example of, hey, this is the cheapest way to get physical media. Okay, we're not going to play the
big fan of physical media. Absolutely am.
Yeah, no, well, mate, you and me both. There's a whole load of it on the shelf behind
Lance,
me.
do you know why this is so hard to find? Because he brings up a good point, because I had to scour around to find it and finally got it off of YouTube. Well, why is this so hard to find, do you think?
I don't know.
I'd imagine you run out of it's probably one of those movies that they haven't made many runs of. They produce a big lot of DVDs or VHS, and then they sell them all, and then they make more. It could be one of those things where like they haven't remastered it or re-put it out in DVD or like Blu-ray or whatever. So yeah, like they get harder to find those more popular movies.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been released on Blu-ray. I mean, it made 72 million in video rentals in the United States alone.
Nice.
I mean, that's pretty decent. Its worldwide box office was 28.5 million, but 72 million on video, because 2001 would have that was just as video stores were going over to DVDs around 2001.
By the way, is Blockbuster making a comeback?
Fucking hope not.
Doubt it.
Oh, I hope it does.
Where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that?
It was trending on X 2 weeks ago. People kept saying Blockbusters, and I thought, what's going on? So I just reshared a tweet thinking it might be making a comeback. People miss it. I miss it.
I have games that take place in video rental stores where I'm like trying to decide what to rent and shit.
If there was one store that I would absolutely not rent from, and that would be Blockbusters. I mean, Blockbusters were really the demise of the very small video shops, the little boutique video stores, the mom and pop video stores, and that really pissed me off.
Well, it was funny because like there was Blockbuster everywhere, and then Hollywood Video showed up, and Hollywood Video was like, "Hey, all of our movies 5-day rentals," because Blockbuster was like, "Okay, 2 days new releases, video games are 3 days, some of these movies are 5 days." Yeah, and then but Hollywood Video was like, hey, we have everything's 5 days, even the new releases, and you'll have way more titles. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then you go there and you find out like all those new extra titles they have are like straight to video crap, like like garbage tier like horror movies and stuff. And I rented them and I like them. They're so bad.
Well, there you go. But yeah, Blockbuster making a comeback. Not sure that's going to happen. I think that horse has well and truly bolted. Okay, sticking with Gene Hackman for a little bit because we can never praise the man enough, really. I also rewatched French Connection and French Connection 2 over the last sort of 48 hours or so. And it's interesting because I own physical copies of both. So they're in my DJ DVD super huge case. I've got 4 of those cases because I had to debox all my DVDs. So I've still got all the covers. I was glad because I had to pay to rent it on Amazon. And by the way, one of the reasons I like watching physical copies of films is they haven't been fucking cut or edited.
Or censored.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Netflix and Amazon have both started doing that.
Warning at the beginning now. Yeah.
The try to censor the more racist parts of it, but it's like, these are the characters. They're kind of racist. That's part of who they are.
But that's why I say this every single week whenever I watch anything. I say every single week after week after week, I will only watch my own physical copies. And I absolutely am not an advocate of these streaming services because how they butcher these movies.
Yeah.
And to keep going out and buying physical copies of these movies, whether it be on DVD or on Blu-ray, preferably DVD.
One of the things I found interesting about watching these 2 films, Inside Man, which came out in 71 and 75, is the massive influence that the French Connection clearly had on the Italian.
Absolutely.
A lot of movies.
The Italian cannelloni films or whatever you call them. Plutzeteschi stuff. You can really see the style, that they've emulated and certain scenes, and also the sort of brusque nature of the characters, to some degree, the style of the acting. The thing about French Connection 2, which is a good movie, it is a good sequel. Man, that whole heroin sequence proper fucking drags in the middle. That goes, it's brutal and it's kind of, but it goes on for like a long time. Yeah. And I found myself like, I might fast forward this next bit. Fast forward 10 minutes. He's still in the room.
This movie and Easy Rider like really made movies pivot to that more like natural, like documentary style filmmaking. Like before Easy Rider, like lens flares were like a big no-no. And also I was shocked to find out that Easy Rider was the first time a movie put pre-existing songs in the soundtrack, like playing. Like that's shocking to me. Pre-existing like radio hits, are going to be featured as like non-diegetic music in the soundtrack. And then Gene Hackman and the French Connection is just very it's got such a gritty, like raw feel to it. And William Friedkin, he's a damn genius.
Well, Friedkin was just a guerrilla filmmaker back in those days, and even when he did To Live and Die in LA with Willem Dafoe, was that 85, 86? He was still doing crazy stuff even in that movie. Like, come on, get in there and drive here and drive really fast. And I'm like, am I supposed to be doing that? Yeah, you are. I'm directing you.
So, we did a big Friedkin stream last year after he died, and I didn't realize that he had made so many movies. I thought he did The Exorcist and Bug, and that's it. I didn't realize he had made so many movies that I had seen previously. Sorcerer is like
Sorcerer. What a movie!
So fucking underrated.
I haven't seen that.
It's the best movie. It's so good. It's all got this like guerrilla style,
French Connection 2 is shot by John Frankenheimer. I'll give it.
Good director.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very good. I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. French Connection, I'll give a 10 out of 10. Both great pivots in Gene Hackman's career. And
well, you see Hackman doing his own stunts, doing a forward roll when he gets shot at by the sniper, and it's just like you kind of overlook things like that, but then you realize that's the actor actually doing it, because obviously Hackman was in the military, so he must have picked up some physical skills.
Yeah. I mean, he does a lot of running in these two.
With a busted knee, by the way. So before Tom Cruise made the busted knee very famous in the Mission Impossible film, Hackman was already doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say he was doing like the sort of besting Tom Cruise, and this guy, he really was running in it. You see him get out of breath as well, and one of the that long chase
and driving up to 90 miles an hour without any restrictions in New York.
Yeah.
That was, believe it or not, that's actually a little bit of a myth.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a myth. I mean, they did undercrank the camera slightly, and they had a certain lens on the camera, so it kind of looked like it was going faster than it actually was. And
it's a great illusion.
But it is true they didn't really get like permits and stuff though, like. Right.
Sorry, mate. Say it again, Enzo.
It is true they didn't really get permits and stuff, like they kind of
they didn't get the permits. However, everybody that you see in the movie, for example, the young woman with the baby carriage crossing the street and everything, all of those pedestrians and a lot of the cars were actually part of the production. So not everything was strictly completely guerrilla. Friedkin talks about it quite a lot in his autobiography, The Friedkin Connection, and he really does go into detail on the French Connection. In terms of the movie and its influence, I mean, you're absolutely right, Lance. This movie has influenced generation upon generation of filmmakers, especially the Italians. I mean, you look at any Italian movie from the era from 71 onwards, and it's the French Connection. It's the French Connection and Dirty Harry. That's what they are.
It's a variation on one or the other.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
pretty much, or a blend of the two, and that
exactly.
And as we go further into the 70s with Italy, they become more Dirty Harry and sort of less French Connection in some ways.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll move on from our Hackman selection, as we've got quite a few things to get through. So there is a new show on Netflix. It's one of those kind of comedy sort of half-hour things, and I had it on in the background, and that's how I usually start watching shows these days. And then if they grab my attention, I'll actually watch them properly. Now this one kind of landed in the middle. It didn't entirely grab my attention, so I carried on working. But I did occasionally kind of stop and watch some scenes. But it's got a really good cast, giving it their all. Lisa Kudrow, who is an actress that normally can only play Lisa Kudrow, is actually surprisingly quite good in this. So I have to say that the casting all round is excellent. It's 8 parts. It's on Netflix. It's called One Good Deed. How I would describe it is tonally, it's very similar to Only the Murders in the Building, or The Murderers Are in the Building. Is that the Amazon thing with Steve Martin and Martin?
No, it's Disney Plus.
Right. Thank you. Disney Plus. Very similar to that kind of vibe. Basically, you've got these two parents played by Ray Romano and Lisa Kudrow, who are two grieving parents who are selling their house. And then you've got these 4 different couples that all want the house for various different reasons, either to do with their own relationship or other nefarious things. And some of them are prepared to go to extreme lengths in order to try and get the house and make sure their bid is the one that buys it. Lisa Kudrow doesn't actually want to sell it. Ray Romano can't get out fast enough. He's also got a brother who's a criminal. So that kind of complicates things. There are some really good lines in it. It's not like it does, you know, to quote the Inside Man, it does feel like content. It is very much a content created series. It ticks a lot of boxes in terms of, you know, what's trendy or what's going to get commissioned. So you've got, in fact, you've got 4 gay characters in it. One's a lesbian couple. There's another gay woman having an affair with one woman who's married. But these things are all great because it works for the story. It is well written. Not particularly, I wasn't blown away or anything, but if you want a fun, and Dennis Leary is always.
Dennis Leary, wow.
Dennis Leary always.
Now I'm going to watch it.
he's the criminal brother. He's probably
awesome.
One of the best things in it. He's kind of playing a character. He's playing a character you've already seen, but
who cares?
And this actress is great in it as well. One of her best roles ever. So you know, I have to say overall, I've got to give it a solid 7. Very watchable, very funny, and quite moving in places.
Cool.
So, No Good Deed, available on Netflix now. Has anyone else seen it, or am I the only one?
No, I've not seen it.
That's my first time knowing about this.
Never heard about it.
It's only literally dropped this week, and I just thought, I like the look of that cast. I'll watch it. Okay, Kung Fu Hot Dog, as you're this week's guest, show us your wares. What DVD purchases did you get?
Well, before I get to the charity stuff, I actually, in honor of 2 Hollywood stars who passed away, I picked this up. So if you can see that, gentleman.
Let me enlarge your screen. There we go. Oh yes, I've got that.
Wow,
that's one of the first DVDs I ever bought.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like £25 or more on Amazon. I just got this for a £5, and it's almost brand new. No scratches, nothing. Great film. And glad I picked it up, actually.
By the way, great to see you've got Banshee on the shelf behind you there.
Everybody, you know what? Every time I upload a video, people always comment about that, and next to it is the Venture Brothers, which is absolutely hilarious.
I've got the Banshee box set Blu-ray on the shelf behind me as well. We got to do a Banshee stream.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting the 3rd season soon, actually. It's one of those things that you know something's so good, but you don't want it to finish really quickly.
No.
And so I'll kind of slow down, but I think from Saturday I'm going to resume duties on season 3. So, and Michelle, sorry.
What else did you get?
Yeah, Michelle Trachtenberg. She passed away the same week as Gene Hackman. Yeah. So I got Eurotrip. This is from the States. This is after Michelle actually finished her run on Buffy. So then she wanted to do something against type, basically. And
hold that up a little bit.
Really funny film.
There you go.
It's really, really funny.
The first time I noticed she was hot.
Yeah, well, precisely. There's a great scene in it where she's at a train station, and it's kind of, you'd kind of pass it off, and then you realize, oh, that was actually her doing that, and it's like, respect, damn. So
she made out with her brother.
Yes.
I was just about to say, good that you didn't give that away, and then Enzo stepped in.
So, do you want to see the rest, Lance?
Yes,
it's
mate.
All charity stuff. I'll go through it
I mean, not if you bought 400 DVDs last week.
No, it's about probably 11, I think, or less.
Give us the highlights.
Yeah, so, most of them are highlights. One was a low light. So, Train Spotting.
Nice.
These are all £1, by the way. Yeah. So, here we go. Flight of the Conchords, season 1.
I've got
Hell yeah.
Excellent purchase.
And what I like about DVDs, you tend to have the original artwork as well. Because with the 4K stuff, you might get the artwork originally seen on a poster, but they charge you more for it.
Right.
So that Drive.
Nice.
Which I absolutely love. I mean, again, the cover is absolutely badass. Sorry for the trembling, guys. I'm just been recovering from something from last August, so it's almost done. This was a terrible buy. I just watched about 20 minutes of it and I turned it off. It was a documentary on surfing. I like surfing stuff, but this was like, it's not a big Wednesday and it's not Laird Hamilton on the way.
Is that title Splat? Or what is that? Sprout. Okay.
Yeah. So this is £35 on Amazon, and it's not even this edition. It's a CD with the DVD. This is the DVD. So I'll probably keep it for that in that respect.
Right.
American Hustle again for £1.
Yeah, could have been better, that movie. Could have been better, but I have to say,
I think that film is very overrated.
I like the performances more than anything else.
Movie, but not a lot else. But
I do like Christian Bale in it. He is the best thing in it, though. But Scarface, Scarface,
mate. Hold it up. Yeah, good purchase. Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah, because they're releasing the gold edition of Scarface in 2 weeks' time on Blu-ray. So, hang on a second now. What we're going to go for? Right, let me go for these two next. This will be a double bill. So the great man himself, the Big Yin from Scotland.
Oh, nice. Billy Connolly.
Because my mum is a big fan of Billy Connolly, so I thought, get this BBC show that he did. £1. Again, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And okay, here we go. So I'll go for probably my favorite in the Cornetto trilogy.
Hot Fuzz. Yeah,
absolutely fantastic. And of course, we got to go with the classic. And again, about the film posters, I say no more.
Nice.
Yes.
Love Jack. You know, one of the last remaining cinematic icons around. But yeah,
I mean, there's, now we've lost Hackman. I mean, of that generation, people whose careers really took off in the 70s, and there's not that many left. We got Robert Redford,
you got Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. I mean, he's
Clint Eastwood's actually still working. Hackman and Nicholson are retired, so technically they're not with us. In terms of being movie legends. But I mean, that's actually a good thing though, because it means they can't make some crappy movie be their last film, or whatever. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I think Nicholson had trouble remembering his lines, didn't he? So because he was getting older, so I thought he retired.
He's always had that trouble.
Yeah, that can happen. But I mean, he had to retire because on a weekly basis, he has so many meetings scheduled with ladies that fitting in a film just not really practical for Jack at this time. DiCaprio knows what we're talking about. DiCaprio had a party at his house.
Leonardo DiCaprio is married to Lucas Haas, and all these women that he parades himself with they're all beards to make him
correct.
Is that what you reckon?
Yeah,
no, that's true.
Lucas Haas and him are husbands. It's a secret. It's like a well-known secret.
Yeah, that's why he goes out of his way to go with those younger girls, so he can really rile up all the feminists. So it just completely throws everybody off.
But that's also why Lucas Haas is always there when he's going on dates and stuff. He's always there with them. He's like a third wheel all the time.
That's like the Michael Jackson theory that he and LaToya were the same person because you never saw them in the same room.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I buy this theory.
I reckon Lucas Haas is probably DiCaprio's fluffer, I should imagine.
I will remind everyone that once upon a time, Tom Cruise was just a theory that people said, and
and it's still just a theory.
I'm
going to say on IMDb, Lucas Haas, it simply says, so we have to take it as fact, good friends with Leonardo DiCaprio. Really good friends. It does not say good friends with benefits with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Really close good friends.
Well, regardless, DiCaprio did have a party where 200 models were around his house on one night.
Yeah, because women feel safe with gay men.
Yeah, he's his fluffer. He is. He's just his
well, I think they'd also feel safe on the basis that, it's unlikely everybody's going to have to get a turn. So that's pretty good odds if there's 200 of you.
Anyway, though. That's the thing.
DiCaprio has a flat in Chelsea as well, which is really funny. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's all coming out. It's all coming out on this...
you heard it here first on the Outcast Creative.
Right, well, we're here to recommend
encounters.
Let's move
Exhibit
on.
Z.
Stupenzo, what film you got to recommend us this week?
I got two ones. Then I got to get going because I think
I know you got to have dinner with your brother. Yeah,
me and bro and mom might go eat right
That's
now.
Right.
But I watched something that was all right, but I think you'd like it, Lance. And I think premise alone is worth talking about. It's something called Grand Theft Hamlet. It was actually pretty wild. It takes place during the pandemic. A pair of British play producers. They own aspiring theater writers and stuff. They want to. They're stuck in quarantine in England. So the whole movie's filmed in GTA Online, Grand Theft Auto Online. And it's basically like these guys are thinking we want to put on a play, a production of Hamlet in Grand Theft Auto. And it's definitely a weird movie to watch all the way through. This would have been really good if it was like a 45-minute feature, or if it was just the play. Instead, it's like this big like documentary, not really a documentary, but it plays out like a movie. Even though it technically is a documentary.
Should we have a quick watch of the trailer? I've got it
Play
here.
the trailer.
We are putting on a production of Hamlet in GTA Online for the first time ever. We are looking for actors, so come and audition. Please try to stop us. You can't stop our mother. Oh, they got me. Oh my God, they're really coming down now. Look.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
You're welcome to audition if you want.
You're crazy, no?
Okay, don't shoot us, please. Whether 'tis noble in the mind to suffer the stings and errors of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of trouble.
No one's going to come. No one cares. It's not a real thing.
It's real to me. Oh, hang on. Someone's here. Whoa.
Hi.
That's quite an entrance.
You can call me Shah.
I'm Jen. I'm Tilly.
I'm Defoe.
My name's Gareth.
While you're doing your dance, try saying to be or not to be, that is the question.
Look, my lord, it comes.
It's like Shakespeare on $1 billion budget.
$1 billion budget, yeah.
Cops are here.
Maybe they originally wanted to just do it at the theater set in the game, but then they realized like we could do it anywhere. We could do it on blimps and have jets and
what we're trying to do is possible.
Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Grand Theft Hamlet.
That's nuts. It's funny actually because the Outcast Creative performed Henry V live on YouTube during lockdown.
Right. And that's kind of one of the guys.
You guys can see it,
Yeah, one of the guys was saying, if we don't do this, he was telling there's two main guys, and one of them has like a job and wife and kids, and the other one like doesn't. And he has like this moment where he's like, if I don't put on this Hamlet play, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm losing my mind here in quarantine. So that was kind of it was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a fun little movie. I think Lance, you'd like it a lot. It's definitely, I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure if you could find the actual entire production like in its entirety somewhere, probably on YouTube. They did do a stream of it somewhere. But yeah, it was cool. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 because it's not a great movie, but it's an awesome idea, Yeah,
I get it. It's kind of a sort of oddity. But
yeah, the other one I want to recommend, and I've seen it before a bunch of times, but I had never seen the director's cut. And it was I'm getting ready for Nadia's horror stream, and we're going to be tier listing all of her favorite horror movies, and one of them is The Frighteners, which is one of my favorite. And that was supposed to be the third Tales from the Crypt movie, which I think would have made it a lot more successful because I love the Crypt Keeper. But I had never seen the director's cut before, and it's like an extra 10 minutes longer, and it is really good. It's one of the few times where the director's cut is probably better because there's like a lot of scenes that are like cut, little interactions that are cut for, I guess, keeping the time down a little, keeping it under 2 hours. But like all the scenes that they add in kind of just add more, backstory and nuance and flavor.
Sure.
And the deleted scenes all have their special effects, all the way done. So that's cool. But yeah, I love this movie.
Peter Jackson film, right?
Yeah.
I need to get this edition.
It was the first time. I think it was his first proper studio picture.
I think he did Heavenly Creatures before or after this.
Actually, Heavenly Creatures might have been before. This. You might be right. Yeah.
Well, what's funny though is like Heavenly Creatures is good, but because he did Lord of the Rings, and there's everything he's done after that, which is and then everything before. Like Bad Taste and Meet the Feebles and Dead Alive.
Meet the Feebles is a work of genius.
Yeah, you can watch me and Dudicus and my cousin watched that movie in full on my channel, full length commentary for Meet the Feebles on my channel. But they had no idea. They were like, their jaws were like to the floor, and I had to keep saying, "This is the director of Lord of the Rings." But The Frighteners is cool because it's a good blend between like his earlier work and like the stuff he was going to do, Lord of the Rings, way more production value. But I think above all, like, I remember when they made a big deal about Ghost with Patrick Swayze. Like, this is the first time we're seeing ghosts using like digital special effects, and we're making ghosts, they're not just people with white sheets over them, And this movie took like what Ghost tried to do and like ramped it up to 100 with like the inventiveness and the techniques and the special effects. Like, I remember at the end when Michael J. Fox is a ghost wrestling the Grim Reaper, it's just like back then, like you would have had to have some serious confidence to try to put this in a script and think you could pull it off, special effects wise. And they do. I watched it again and, the effects still really hold up. Even some of the more digitally, computery looking special effects, they still have this quality to them that's really charming.
That's the Western Workshop, though, magic, isn't it? Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, and it's filmed in New Zealand, and it's got a very Peter Jackson vibe. It has that type of car that's in all of his movies, those old timey New Zealand sedans.
Kung Fu Hot Dog. I don't know if you remember the Plaza Cinema that was just down from Piccadilly Circus.
I know it very well. Absolutely.
Yeah, it had 4 screens, and screens 1 and 2 were absolutely great. Screens 3 and 4 in the basement, not so great. I saw this on screen 2 at the Plaza, and on the opening week, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a really great, inventive film, very different role for Fox. Liked the balance of comedy and horror, and just thought it was a lot of fun. I loved it. It was a shame it wasn't a bigger hit because I think it deserved it.
It's now a cult hit though, isn't it? Which is probably more resonating, I suppose.
Yeah. I'll be keen to see the directors.
Jake Busey, Jake Busey's the big bad, and Jeffrey Combs.
Jesus.
Yeah. Also, I didn't realize until later, like many times watching it, that the original Gomez Addams, John Astin, he's the judge, which is interesting because, eventually Samwise was played by Sean Astin in the Lord of the Rings movies, working with Peter Jackson. But there's like a great deleted scene where, or not out to a blooper where Michael J. Fox keeps calling the judge. There's Judge, his character Judge. He keeps calling him Doc. And there's some great like blooper where he's like the camera dollies in right on Michael J. Fox's face, and he screams. He's supposed to scream Judge, but instead he's like Doc. And then he has a moment, and he just stops. And he's like, "Ow, what am I saying, Doc? I mean Judge." And he's like starts cursing. That's funny.
Back to the Future.
But I think this is also one of the first times where he was like telling people like he's secretly like diagnosed with Parkinson's, and you can see it in Frank Bannister's like mannerisms. He's very like, he can't hold still. Like he's doing a lot of like, I thought that was like interesting, like, actor choices, but it turns out that he just literally can't hold still. So, yeah.
Out of interest, the Blu-ray that you have, does it say that it has an extra 10 minutes in it? Because I want to buy this.
I assume. I didn't watch it on a Blu-ray.
No. Okay, right.
Depends. I may have seen it on Ooh, matey, the Good Ship.
I'm sure it's. I have the original on DVD, but it is not this longer version.
Damn,
I've seen the version I have on DVD a bunch of times, and there was a lot of cool little stuff. Like for instance, like little things. Like there's a scene where it cuts to John Astin's character, the judge, sitting on a chair, and Michael J. Fox is like putting wood in a fire and talking about how, Judge is looking great. He's decomposing, But what's interesting is before that, there's a 3-second scene of him like on the roof of his unfinished house with a chainsaw. He's cutting like lumber from the unfinished like roof. And that is the wood he's using for fire to heat his home. Really like explaining like how dire his financial situation is. There's also a big scene where it's not a big scene, but it's a little scene where he has a little sit down with the ghost. Like, hey, just got a letter from the bank. I owe him $15,000. If I don't get it, they're going to take my house. They're not going to take my house. I'm not losing this house. We have to go scare people. And he kind of gives that whole, really that drive on why he's doing this. And I don't know why they cut it. It's one of those things. Why do they cut that stuff?
Interesting to see the design of the ghost here, really reminiscent of one of the Black Riders in
yeah, totally,
Lord of the Rings.
Totally. Yeah, very much so.
Big fan of the Frighteners. Tomby was there the night I met you. Kung Fu Hot Dog is another one that was at the London meetup.
Also, the ghosts. The ghosts are very similar to how Lord of the Rings handled their, the ghosts of men. The army of the ghost people. Except they glow kind of green.
That makes sense.
They glow kind of green, whereas in this movie they have this bluish glow. This was not in the movie. There's a computer animated chicken walking around, and it's 2-second little scene, and it looks awesome. And it's like, why would you cut that? Like, I don't understand.
I'm pretty sure I saw this in the version I saw because I remember this.
Then you might have seen the longer version because this was one of the many. It's like little tiny scenes everywhere that peppers to like a total of 10 minutes worth of extra footage. So interesting stuff. Like for instance, when they scare this baby. Yeah, they scare this baby. What was interesting though is they show the whole scene of Frank Bannister driving there, and he's got the judge in his passenger seat, and they're having this big conversation about how all the heart attacks in town are very suspicious. That wasn't in the theatrical either.
No. So yeah, I do remember this sequence.
Well, I've just ordered it now, so I'm happy for that.
Yeah. Well, Drew Gordon got the extended Blu-ray for about 15 quid on.
Yeah, I've got it for just 13, so you'll be here in April. I don't mind.
There you go.
Yeah, Drew Gordon's right. The Jeffrey Combs character is like doing a lot more backstory about how he was like undercover with the Manson family, and they used him as like a sex slave, and how he was working with he explains like all the scars on his body, like where they're from,
So let me ask you guys this question: how would you compare this to Beetlejuice? Because in reflection, Beetlejuice might be a tad overrated compared to this. So what are your opinions?
I think this is better than Beetlejuice. I mean, Beetlejuice is the most. It's probably one of the best Tim Burton movies, and it's the most like Tim Burton-y movie. But yeah, The Frighteners is just an awesome movie. Like it's one of those like crowd pleasers because it's not. It's also, kids, it's a rated R movie and it actually deserves an R rating, I think, but it's still a soft R rating. And honestly, this is like kind of got this kookiness to it where I think you could show it to kids. And I think normal people who are not like really into horror, I think they could appreciate this movie. I think it's got a pretty broad audience appeal. So does Beetlejuice, but I don't know. This movie's just like a surprise, with how great it is, like on a technical level, and just also how inventive it is and just creative. It's a fun movie.
Yeah,
and like I said, if this had been the third Tales from the Crypt movie, like I think everyone it'd be way more less underrated. This movie, I think people would be way more reminiscent of how awesome it is.
I think we talked about this when we did that on our stream where we did From Dusk Till Dawn. If we had gotten a chance to have like a yearly anthology Tales from the Crypt movie. You know what I mean? Like 94, 95, 96, upwards like that. Yeah. I think that could have been really cool. I think that would have been, it would have had some legs.
Yeah. As long as Kathleen Kennedy wasn't in charge of it. So ratings out of 10 for the Frighteners director's cut. Drew, you can put your rating in the chat as well, buddy.
I give it a good like 9 out of 10, man. It's almost a perfect movie.
Yeah, this film was already up there for me. It was definitely 8.5, 9 out of 10. Haven't watched it in a while, but I did used to own it on VHS. I don't think I have it on DVD or Blu-ray. So the last time I would have watched it would have been the VHS copy that I had. So you're talking early 2000s probably. So definitely deserving of a rewatch for sure. Remember this scene. Yeah, so anyone else want to rate it out of 10 before we move on?
Yeah, easy 9. Easy 9, and I think I'd agree with Kung Fu Hot Dog. I mean, this absolutely pisses over Beetlejuice.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, even though I haven't watched it for a while, I really did regard it very highly. So I may well agree with you on that. I'd need to kind of watch them back to back, but tonally they're at very similar ballpark. I think this one's probably got the strongest story overall.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, don't forget, I mean, Peter Jackson's got a really warped sense of humor. If you've seen Bad Taste, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to watch Bad Taste again, because I mean, how a film with a guy putting his brain back inside of his skull. Come on, only Peter Jackson could have done that.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I was at the UK premiere of that. I think it was at the Prince Charles. And I met Peter Jackson, and I think it must have been Fran Walsh, because there was a woman with him when I spoke to him, and I got to talk to him for about 5 minutes.
How was he?
Really lovely. Just, you know, it was like his first movie. So we were doing that whole, I'd just done my first movie. So we were doing that whole kind of exchange of war stories thing. And, you know, funny to think that that was the guy who was going to go on to make Lord of the Rings. But yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it was fun hanging.
Yeah, you got to go.
The whole hour. I'll see y'all later.
Yeah,
You're
take
out
care,
for
mate. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
All right.
He's off for Mexican food. Okay. So Inside Man, you haven't had a go yet. What's cooking for you this week?
Well, I'm going to go with an absolute belter of a movie. One of my all-time favorites, Revolver. No, not the Guy Ritchie movie. No,
thanks for that. I was going to say that film's awful.
Definitely not. No.
Are you talking about
1973?
You're talking about the Oliver Reed.
Yeah, the Oliver Reed, 1973 Sergio Solima movie.
Right.
Absolutely cracking movie. I mean, Sergio Solima, again, another one of my favorite Italian directors. I mean, this one, it really is probably, along with Almost Human, probably my favorite Poliziotteschi. See, this one is actually about. So it starts off with a kind of a bungled heist. So Fabio Testi is arrested, tried, goes to prison. Oliver Reed is the prison warder. And out of the blue, Oliver Reed gets a phone call from somebody insisting that he basically springs Fabio Testi's character because his wife is being held hostage, and if he doesn't do it, then his wife's going to be killed. So he has to spring Fabio Testi. So they kind of go on the run. They kind of bond a little bit. And in the process, they discover, because he thinks that Fabio Testi is behind the whole plot, and of course he isn't. It goes much, much deeper and much, much bigger, and it's in connection with the bungled robbery at the beginning, and his friend who gets killed within that bungled robbery, and all kinds of political situations start to emerge. It's got one of my absolute favorite pieces of Ennio Morricone music.
I thought you were about to say it's got one of my absolute favorite jackets in this movie, and here it is.
And that's my favorite jacket as well. Yeah,
Ennio Morricone did the score for this. That's
it really is one of my favorite Morricone scores. There is a piece in this that it's not that dissimilar to part of the score that he did for Violent City, or part of the score that he did for Almost Human. It's a very, very kind of similar, kind of dark piece of music, and it's on the prison break. It's sort of, you know, when he gets sprung. It's an absolutely ass-kicking piece of music, but it has a really, really a jaw dropper of an ending. And I just remember when I first saw it, I thought, shit, no, it's it's a shocker of an ending. It's not what you expect, and it's not what you can possibly fathom out either. You won't be able to fathom out the ending of this movie.
Right.
It's really fucking brilliant. I love it. Absolutely adore this film.
Fantastic. What would you give it out of 10?
10.
Blimey. Okay.
Yeah. It's a great film. And Oliver Reed is although he has an American accent, and obviously everybody's voices are dubbed and everything, but you have to see past that. But visually, Sergio Salim is a really good director, really excellent director.
Has he dubbed his own voice, Ollie?
Yeah. But he has an American accent, but he does it pretty good actually.
Right.
He's not bad, but he looks great. I mean, Oliver Reed looks absolutely magnificent in this movie. He really does.
Agostina Belli is looking pretty nice in that shot there. Take it she's the love interest.
Yes.
Of the film.
Yeah.
Somehow Alex Tabrizi's got into this shot. I don't know what's happening there. Is that in Italy or is that in Holland?
It's Italy. Well, it's Italy and France.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's they used to do a lot of these Euro collabs with these Poliziotescos.
Yeah.
So it was always sort of French German, French German Italian, French Dutch Italian, but mainly France. Even Spain got in the act. So but there's some really good collaborations, and splitting the budget for these, and they would shoot some locations in the other respective countries, and the studio stuff at Cinecittà. But it's a great film. It looks amazing. Fantastic, a really fantastic 4K print of this, or 4K transfer of this. It's not been digitally altered in any way whatsoever. It's a direct transfer onto 4K from the original negative, and it looks great.
Is that the Eureka release?
I think it's no, I think it's Radiance.
Okay. Because it was released by Eureka on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
A few years back. So I don't know if you can still get that version. For those of us who aren't bothering with 4K, how much upscaling do you need?
It's not
enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a 4K Blu-ray or it's not a 4K Blu-ray. What it is, it's a standard Blu-ray, but it's been transferred as a 4K picture onto Blu-ray from the original negative. So it's not upscaled or anything like that. It's literally so you have every piece of dirt and grain, and so there's no digital transformation or manipulation of the picture whatsoever, and it looks great. The colors are fantastic.
I just looked this up on Amazon.
Yeah,
and they've associated it with another film called The Boss with Henry Silva.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know that film, but
yes,
thanks to you, I'm going to actually order this one because I never knew this existed.
I
like Oliver Reed.
We cover a couple of older films every week, and the Inside Man always comes up with some absolute crackers, and also some that horrify you and make you feel dreadfully uncomfortable. I would put this in the first category. What an excellent caterpillar as well that Ollie is sporting for this movie.
Yeah, he does look great, and
a lot of these movies, Kung Fu Hot Dog, got repackaged for video in the 80s with those kind of cool sort of glitzy covers, like all the Mad Max Italian Mad Max rip-offs and Bronx Warriors and that kind of thing. So there's probably a re-release cover of this somewhere. I bet it got re-released in the 80s for video.
Yeah.
Might just have a quick look, see if there's any artwork here.
Sorry, I was just going to say, talking about the covers. I mean, the good thing about the covers, when you have, companies like Radiance Films or 88 Films, who are doing an awful lot of these Italian movies, both companies have their own Italian collections. The good thing about them is that they do always retain all of the original poster artwork. So the original posters are always on the front covers. There's no kind of rejigging or anything like that.
Some of the companies have alternative ones on the inside of the sleeve.
Yes, which
I like.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so a reversible cover. Yeah,
I've got a Wild Geese that's got original and reversible cover. So I do remember seeing this in the video store. I think.
Yeah, that's the one that's on Amazon. The one on the right.
Right. There you go. Excellent. On its way to Kung Fu Hot Dog's house as we speak.
It's a great. It really is it's a lovely, lovely film. I love it, and I adore Oliver Reed. Anyway, I think he was, the quintessential man's man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to go from the man's man to the blonde woman, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, this is Toxic's choice.
Yes.
So
it's quite the transition. Wow.
Yeah, you can always depend on Toxic for a transition. So,
well, Michelle passed away recently, sadly, and then on top of that, yesterday was the 28th year. My God, anniversary of the TV show premiering on the WB.
Which one is Michelle in this poster?
The one
in this poster, I don't
She's
see
not
her.
there.
She's not there, boss. I have more slides though.
Okay. Anyway, so sorry, continue. I interrupted.
Well, 28 years ago, I happened to have my days switched. I'd yet to join the Army. I was working at a bar, and I was just home kind of chilling out by myself, flipping the channel as you did back in the 90s. And I saw 90210 was on, so I liked that show, so I turned it on. And lo and behold, it wasn't 90210, although the school was the same. A little bit of trivia for you. And it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was already, by that time, before the commercial break, already kind of caught into it. And I've been a huge fan ever since. I think it's one of the greatest shows ever created. I think it's one of the greatest universes. I think Joss was a genius. Expectation subversion, having the, I don't care for the, the boss girl babe era thing, but
that's the actress from the movie, from the
TV
series. Yeah.
And she was great as Faith in the 3rd season. My God, what an entrance.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's something that's, it's had a huge effect on my life. And, I watch all of his shows, but, they're a lot of stuff's happening. Obviously, sadly, Michelle Trachtenberg, who played her younger sister, passed away. And they're talking about a reboot. I really hope that gets kind of axed. I don't want.
So do I. I think it's going ahead, to be honest, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Well, it'll probably be another series that goes ahead, has a lot of money spent on it, and then bombs after one season.
I mean, it's one of those things where, to me, it's just about perfect. And it's like very few shows can do that. I remember Justified. I remember when that ended in 2015. I thought that was perfect. And then they had that horrible mini series that came out last year that Blue Collar and I did. And it's just, that's my fear, is that they reboot it and, they try to do this other thing. And it's not going to be, and, Joss, obviously, whatever his alleged problematic issues are, they're not going to let him be involved. And really, the show is Joss Whedon. So I don't see how it can be done.
Inside Man had a brief cameo in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Would you like to see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
There you go.
Stop it.
They got his likeness.
Yeah.
Bang on.
Spot on.
Yeah, but obviously when he was younger, he hasn't got that much hair now.
I was about 42 there.
Yeah.
You had me there. You had me. I actually believed that he was in it.
How many episodes is the show in total?
144.
Wow.
Damn. So, I mean, you're committing, 45 minutes an episode?
At least, yeah. I mean, if you watch it, sans commercials, obviously, yeah, it would be that. I don't know how you would, if you're like me and you have all the DVDs like that. But then, there's also the beauty of the DVDs. Not only they have excellent special features, they've also got remarkable commentary on a lot of them. I know hard media is hard to come by, no pun intended, but it's definitely something.
There was a time when I remember seeing endless Buffy box sets in, Kung Fu Hot Dog, CXR, the sort of trade-in place, and I
want to reacquire them, actually.
The DVDs will be a better bet because they've really zoomed in on the widescreen for the HD releases, and it's really shit. It really is.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want this on Blu-ray. Incidentally, the first picture of 6,335 pictures of the show on IMDb, so we won't scroll through all of those, is of Michelle Trachtenberg.
There she is. There she is.
And that must have been her when she was caught. I mean, God, you know, it's heartbreaking to think she's gone.
Her character was terrible, though. Her character was really terrible.
Don't say that after I've said that. Honestly, what a fun one. Yeah, but her character was a bit shit.
Down, yeah, but they never wrote her well, though.
Yeah, but you know, what a legacy she's left with that terrible character.
I will forever be a Dawn defender, and if I can sway you, obviously, you know, for the uninitiated, Dawn was created, you know, as a magical key to access another universe. And it's so brilliant the way they introduced her into the show, because they introduced her in media res, where like they just assume, and everyone was like, did I miss an episode? What's going on? How does Buffy all of a sudden have a sister? And it's so brilliant the way they do it. And they don't reveal until like 5 or 6 episodes later that everybody's memories have been changed and things like that. But if I can just really quickly defend her character, because I know she gets a lot of hate, but here's the thing, Luke, her character is not a teenage girl. Her character is what a bunch of monks who've never been with a girl.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Season 5 was fine. Season 6 was when she started becoming annoying.
Well,
she kind of brings out that demon that makes everyone sing and dance before they all burn up.
Well, you could have said that then. You could have said, well, she's a bit annoying in season 6, but
Xander is the one that brought that demon out.
Obvious, that's all. But they really screw their character though. The writing in season.
All right. Well,
this is Sergeant Randleman from Band of Brothers.
It is. Yes.
Oh, Michael Cudlitz.
Yeah.
You know who else got their start on the show, Lance?
Lots of people, but go ahead.
Pedro Pascal.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn.
Doug Jones was in Hellraiser, I think.
Pedro Pascal, the guy from Prison Break, was in season 2. I don't know his name off the top of my head. Amy Adams' first acting role was in.
Yeah, I just saw a picture of her. I think this guy was in Eric Balfour. Didn't he go on to have a role in
he was in 24.
Was it 24? I thought he was also in the Mark Wahlberg, you know, Black Hawk Down in Afghanistan thing.
No, he wasn't.
Lone Survivor. Was he in Lone Survivor? I might be thinking of someone else.
No, he was in that Alien Takeover movie. I don't forget what it was called. But yeah, no, it's God, man, 28 years. It really
Fillion, holy shit.
Yeah, I really rate him as an actor. I really like
him this as well. He's a creepy fucker. He really is.
Your lordship, I need to ask you a couple of questions.
Bring it.
After season 5 of Buffy, I kind of stopped watching it because I thought it went a bit goofy.
Okay.
So am I correct in thinking that? And also, how do you rate Angel compared to Buffy? What's your favorite?
Good questions for the panel there. Dive in.
Well, if I may,
you may.
I don't know that I would say goofy. I definitely think that had they tied it off at season 5, I think that would have been just lovely to do that. I'm fine. I would have been fine with that. Season 6 has its problems, but you know, it also gave us the Buffy musical, and then season 7 also has some issues, but the way they end the show is actually brilliant. I think it's worth your time if you have a chance, and you can do so. I think it's streaming on multiple streaming services. So
I'm going to buy the DVD box set.
All right, well, fair enough. Beyond that, Angel, yes, as Luke and I have talked about, he and I did a stream last year looking at the unaired Buffy pilot of what would have been the show had they not altered it and whatnot. And we talked about, we are both pretty big Angel fans. I love detective stuff. You know, I obviously, for personal reasons, private detective stuff always, you know, kind of, you know, blows my skirt up. I do like Angel better, but it's not the anniversary of Angel. So when I did my stream yesterday, I didn't really mention Angel, but it's a great show. It could stand on its own without Buffy. Obviously, Buffy is kind of an allegory tale for growing up, whereas Angel is kind of a tale of being an adult and getting over, you know, whatever your issues are that you had in order to, you know, make it in the adult world, and, you know, the pain of loss, and allegory tale for maybe alcoholism and things like that. And of course, it's a great noir vampire type show. I mean, they really do stand on, and they kind of had to because they both went to separate networks after the second season. So yeah, no, it's great. I don't know how much of it you've watched. I would definitely recommend
I watched
it.
up to the 5th season, but I remember seeing, I think it was season 3 when we find out that Giles, his nickname was Ripper. And he's like, do you mind playing that down, please? I'm not really that guy anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I and the difference being that, you know, Angel, you know, I'll always love anything, you know, Buffy related, but I have to admit the first season's pretty goofy.
Yeah, tonally, I've not seen many episodes of this, but I do remember catching a couple of episodes of season 1. My ex-wife was a massive fan of it. She binged it all the way through twice, I think.
Awesome.
And I remember catching an episode here and there, like much further down the line, and thought this is a bit dark compared to what I saw earlier.
By the way,
yeah,
wasn't there an episode
sometimes go goofy and go really dark and tragic? I mean, at the end of season 2, Buffy finally cures Angel of his evilness, but she has to kill him as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the world will end. It's like, Jesus Christ, Joss Whedon, you give us something, then you take it back. It's great.
By the way, wasn't there an episode of Buffy where like something happened in the high school that people got killed and a real life shooting had occurred in America?
It was like some ghost that was repeating this cycle.
No, that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about a real world event affecting. Yeah. So the season 3 show, one of the episodes coincided shortly after the Columbine tragedy, which was
Thank you.
Oh, is it with Jonathan? Where he tries
and
he reveals he's trying to kill himself.
Yeah, she careful, don't say that.
Oh yeah,
phrase. So Buffy gets psychic powers for an episode, and that gives her the ability to hear everything that everyone's thinking, and she hears thoughts that someone's gonna do that at the school. And you know, it's a subversion because it actually winds up being the lunch lady trying to poison everybody. And you know, the other young student was gonna unalive himself, and she winds up so they yanked that, and then they unfortunately also yanked the season finale of Buffy because, you know, the big monster, the whole school gets together and fights the big monster, and so the season finale, which should have premiered in May, you didn't get to see till early August, right before the next season premiered. So it was really unfortunate. I think I worked at a movie theater when Columbine happened, and it was bad. Like I saw movies get pulled from the theaters. I saw stuff get, you know, limited. I saw movie titles change. You know, Killing Mrs. Tingle became Teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Yeah, I remember that.
Jesus.
They were sending undercover reporters to see if they could get in, and you know, we had to make sure we ID checked everybody, and it was, you know, things like that. So it was really unfortunate, and it seems silly now, you know, because it's like that's obviously someone's got a bent screw. But yeah, that Buffy was one of the big fatalities of that season too, and I think most people would argue, and I wouldn't say different, that season 3 really is the flawless season. It's the season where they don't have any weak candy episodes. They're all firing on all cylinders all season 3.
Yeah, I think at the time of television, it was like whenever it got to the 3rd season, me and my friends would say, "Oh, we know this is going to be a banger." Because it was like a rule that when a third season of a popular TV show came by, you kind of knew what you're letting yourself in for. And
back then,
no exception.
Yeah, back then.
I would agree.
And I think as well, they're doing this supposed remake. I think it's like they're hitting back at Joss Whedon, even though Sarah Michelle Gellar and Charisma Carpenter never had any complaints during the making of until lockdown happened. And then Charisma Carpenter started saying, he was saying that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't want to go down that road on Lance's channel. I've done my own stream talking about that. I've got
it's nothing that occurred to me.
Yeah.
We'll you can cover that on Toxic's channel another time. 69 discs, still quite the big commitment. Maybe one day I will sit down and binge it all. Who has seen it all the way through here?
Well, I've never seen it. Not on episodes.
Mate, sorry. Inside Man, I do apologise. I should have qualified that question. Apart from the Inside Man, I knew you were. Who has seen it all the way through?
Yeah, obviously me and Toxic have.
And Kung Fu, you've seen it all the way through?
No, I got up to season 5 of Buffy and season 3 of Angel, so I want to reacquire.
Okay, well that qualifies you to overall give it a rating out of 10. So, gentlemen, please do so. What is your?
Who would like to go first?
Overall, you're Toxic. It's your choice, so you can go first.
I mean, it's 10 out of 10. I can rewatch. I named my daughter after this show. So I named my daughter Cece. I wanted to name her Buffy, but my wife wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I think that was a good call. That was a good call on the part of the wife there. Well done.
But it's 10 out of 10. I can literally turn this on any day, this or Angel or Firefly or any of these. I can turn it on and I'll always have a good time. I'm so delighted that Mahler is getting Critical Drinker into the Buffy verse and they do a rewatch show every week.
Oh, right. I didn't know they were doing that. That's good.
Yeah, it's on. It's on his channel. You have to kind of dig around for it. If you're subscribed to him and you get notifications, you'd probably get it. But it's a thing. Mahler. He got Mahler to watch Star Trek, and so Mahler in turn was like, "Well, you're gonna watch all the.
You're gonna watch Buffy."
Yeah, and Angel and
I
Firefly.
feel Mahler got the better deal there, but yeah. So yeah, okay. Northern, what are you giving the show out of 10 overall?
10 out of 10. I mean, yeah, the first series is a little bit dodgy, and there are a couple of episodes that are weak, and season 7, yeah, has its problems, but it still wraps it up really well. You get some really cool big bad bosses at the end of every season, and it's very funny, it's very clever, the characters are very memorable. You just want to hang out with these people as well, as watch them kick ass.
Anyone who wants to see what Quark really looks like from Deep Space Nine, there he is. Any makeup on.
Oh, yeah, he's such a dick in that show. He is.
He's so brilliant in this show.
Shimmerman is a great actor.
Yeah, she looks good.
He's very underrated, is Armin Shimmerman. I think falling into that track of, he's on Star Trek, so we're not going to give him much else to do. That happened to various people. But most of those people are pretty decent actors, especially the character actors. I'm quite amazed that the actor who plays Data, jump in, someone.
Brent Spiner.
Oh, Brent Spiner.
Thank you, Brent Spiner. I'm amazed when Brent Spiner sort of came off the Next Gen feature films that we weren't seeing him in massive dramatic parts, not the leading man because he hasn't got that kind of look, but the kind of supporting big roles in feature film. I mean, yeah, he got Dr. Oaken in Independence Day, which suited him down to a T, but because he's got incredible range, but I suspect he was in a position where it was like, if it sounds fun, I'll do the job. If it doesn't, I won't, because I've made so much money from Star Trek, I'm doing all right.
Well, Brent Spiner, if they had made a live-action version of Penelope Pitstop, he would have been the perfect hooded claw.
He would have been. He would have been great, actually. And Danny DeVito could have been in charge of those guys who've got the long car and all the gangsters in it.
Yeah, the Anthill Mob.
The Anthill Mob, yeah. Danny DeVito running the Anthill Mob definitely.
That's good. That's a good casting choice. I like that.
Lance, since we started streaming together and you've kind of gravitated and we talk and all that, I always kind of think of you as my Giles, the Anthony Head character, the Watcher guy. I always kind of think of you as the all-knowing wise elder for this stuff, and in your and the way he has the kind of strained relationship with Spike, where he's always kind of aggravated by him and almost disgusted with him at times. I always think of that as kind of me and you a little bit
as our relationship. Yeah, I love that. I
mean, that episode
also
where
uncannily accurate as well. Sorry,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So I was just about to say, because I love that episode where they all lose their memories, and Spike thinks Giles is his father, and he sees his name is Randy, and he's like, "Oh, Randy? No wonder I hate you. I mean, Why don't you just call me Horny Giles or Desperate for a Shag Giles?
Okay, so yeah, good recommendation, Tox. We've got about 20 minutes left. Kung Fu Hot Dog, you still okay for time?
Yeah, probably about 10 more minutes, then I got to log off.
Okay, no worries. So we'll move on from Buffy. Does anybody else have something old or new that they want to recommend that we haven't done yet?
I've
Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe not.
Well, Inside Man, go for it. I'll get Demo Man ready. We'll cover that.
I decided to go for one at the tail end of the 70s.
Damn, I mean that's so unlike you.
Yeah, and it was The Exterminator.
Robert McGinty.
I bought it.
Yeah, it's great.
Have you Kung Fu? Can you grab the Blu-ray for us?
Yeah, I'll just go and get it. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, you do that while Inside Man. Go ahead.
Terrific. Yeah, I think it was. What was it? James Glickenhaus, I think, was the director. Didn't do many films.
Yeah, he was. James Glickenhaus, and I actually tried to track him down, not a million moons ago, because I wanted to talk to somebody who worked on this film, and he is still alive.
He is. Oh, right.
And he also did Codename The Soldier. And I wrote to him. I found him, but I never got a response, sadly. But this was the film that everyone was talking about at school. It was one of those, wasn't it? It was everyone was talking about it at school.
Yeah.
And everyone was going on about the scene with the Doberman and the kind of electric meat carver.
Yeah, the meat grinder. Yeah.
And you know, there were these various iconic moments, and it was like you tried to get it from the video store, but at one point, thanks to good old Mary Whitehouse, it was one of the ones that got removed, and it got re-released, very heavily edited at some point as well.
I mean, it starts off as a war movie. So it's a Vietnam movie. So obviously we've established that the lead characters, or one of the lead characters, is a veteran, and of course, a friend of the lead character. He sadly gets attacked, has his neck broken, so he's paralyzed.
Steve James, who was a really good actor, by the way.
I really rated him. He did a lot of stuff for Canon just before he passed away. Sadly.
With Michael Dudikoff.
And of course, his
it's
friend
a
goes on the
revenge
rampage.
thriller, isn't it?
It's a standard revenge-o-matic, but I think there's the pudding was kind of slightly over-egged by a lot of people, saying how bad it was. Yeah, it's really gory. It's really trashy and sleazy and everything. It is trashy and sleazy, and it's pretty violent. But even seeing the uncut version, it's not bad. It's by today's standards, even by standards back then, it's still not as bad as I expected it to be.
Let's have a quick look at that Blu-ray, Hot Dog. I'll just blow you up a second, not literally with explosives.
Is this the uncut version?
I don't know. Hold it closer, if you will. That's interesting, because that is the second cover that you got in the video stores when they started getting more inventive and they realized, that was, there you go. And there's the original
that's the original
cover. So that's nice that you
got
both.
And by the way, guys, had to get that.
I remember we rented, me and Paul Wilkins rented that the week it came out. We reserved it. And, we were like really excited, and it was kind of lame from what I recall. But
bigger budget, I think it had. So, but nonetheless, Mario Van Peebles is the bad guy. I'm going to watch it.
Well, I mean, a good double bill, with a pizza and a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inside Man, what else did you want to say about it?
Yeah, it's like I say, it's one of those revenge-o-matics. I love my revenge-o-matic movies. I just, there's something quite satisfying about somebody having extreme violence visited upon them for doing something wrong to somebody else. You know, I love to see people being shot, tortured, stabbed, and all other kinds of movie violence committed against them, because that's all it is. It's just a movie, and I think we have to be very clear about the distinction between movie violence and real violence. And considering that this was actually part of the banned list, the video nasty banned list in the 1980s, it's unfathomable to me why any movie could possibly be banned.
Also, by the way, this movie was not at the end of the 70s. It was released on September the 10th, 1980,
which makes it the end of the 70s.
Well,
it's actually the final year of the 70s, even though it's 1980. The first year of the 80s is 1980.
Okay, cutting splitting hairs there, but
let's be correct. So
you could still call it an 80s movie, which
it's
is
the final year of the 1970s.
Is the era that you say no good films were made. So here's another one in that time.
It's the era. It's the era that I said that not many good films were made. But
okay.
Just in case anybody out there really wants to argue the toss about the 80s and 70s and 1980 being in the 80s or 70s, just a quick question: why do you think Stanley Kubrick called his movie, and Arthur C. Clarke called the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey? Because that's the very first year of the 21st century. Not 2000, 2001 is the first year of the 21st century. Just putting it out there. But yeah, it's a great movie. It's a great violent movie if you like your movie violence. And I just can't understand, that we actually, Lance and I had actually gone through this period where we knew that there were movies that we just couldn't get our hands on, that we had to rely on friends at school, and us ourselves were, retaping these movies and swapping them with friends at school, and lending them out to the teachers and stuff like that, because these movies, nobody could get hold of.
I saw this the same day I saw American Werewolf in London.
Oh, was it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, and what a relaxing double bill that was.
That's a great double bill.
But yeah, I mean it was, and yeah, I mean The Exterminator didn't disappoint, because back then we hadn't seen that many films that were this violent. We certainly hadn't seen a man dropped into a meat grinder. That was a new one. And the flashbacks to Vietnam, which was about to become a lot more common again, was something that wasn't, again, we weren't that familiar with. We hadn't seen it as a tool in a lot of movies up to that point.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to ask, actually, Toxic would probably be able to help me out here. In which year was First Blood published, the novel published? Any
late 70s. It's definitely 70s for sure.
Right. So I have a feeling that this movie was maybe influenced quite heavily by the First Blood novel. Perhaps one of the first movies to be influenced by
the First Blood novel was published in 1972. So 8 years.
Wow, really?
8 years before this.
My God. I mean, do you know what? That book, sorry, sidetracking slightly, but that book still holds up. I think it's a very, very good book. It's a very good book.
Yeah, I've read it. It's really good.
Yeah,
David Morrell, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's correct. James Glickenhaus, by the way, also directed The Protector.
Yes, he did.
With Jackie Chan. And I think that was his last sort of proper, decent movie. I've got a super chat here. Let me read this out from Darth Plato. Greetings, gang. I just wanted to say that Kung Fu Hot Dog is a great YouTube name. It is. I mean, actually, it actually was the name that made me subscribe. Not any of his content. I just saw the channel and went, I'm subscribing. Someone who's got a name like that has got to be semi-cool, at least. And proved to be correct. He is semi-cool. So, especially in a pub full of loads of other strange people. So we had a good time.
Yeah,
in London. Yeah, it was funny. And
you were definitely the highlight, Lance. Trust me, mate. You were.
Oh, bless you. That's very kind. spent most of the evening organising drinkers' queue, which was, but I didn't mind because I mean the guy has done so much to help me, and it was so chaotic. It just would have, if I hadn't have done that, the whole thing would have got very messy. There would have been some punch ups and things of that nature. I already had to calm a couple of people down.
By the way, you talk about The Protector. Jackie Chan did not like the American version that he was in, and they actually re-edited it for Hong Kong. So
yeah, I've heard that there's a much better cut of it. I did hear that.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh, that's another one. That's another one I've got to watch for sure. So Exterminator. What would you give it out of 10, people?
Oh God, I mean, it's for me. It just it takes me back to my school days. So whereas Toxic was watching Buffy, I was watching this. Yeah, something a little bit more grizzled and yeah. So this has really got to be a 9 for me. I love it. I loved it. I loved rewatching that.
Hot Dog, what would you give it?
I would give it an 8, but it might change when I watch it this weekend. I might give it a higher rating.
Okay. Northern, have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I'll put it on my list though.
Add it to the list. It's of its time, so
it is.
Manage your expectations, but it's it is worth a watch for what it is. Okay, we'll move on to our final film of the evening. I was going to mention the Gabby Petito documentary briefly on Netflix. If people haven't seen it, it's a true crime documentary. I think it's 3 parts. Of course, most people have heard of the case. There is.
Well, you say potato, I say potato. We'll call the whole thing off.
But it's a tragic story about a woman who went on, supposedly sort of idyllic yomp round the United States with this van that she'd had decked out with her boyfriend. Something kicked off, and the boyfriend sadly killed her, and then topped himself. But I think one of the main bones of contention is the boyfriend came back on his own, didn't tell people what had happened for a really long time. The parents kind of hid him. The parents also are in complete denial of their own responsibilities, especially towards the other family who they ended up blocking on phone. And this is why Gabby's body was still fucking missing. So that part of the story, I think, is just shows the kind of the worst in people. I get that they were trying to defend their son, but at the same time, a young woman was missing. No parent wants to go through that. Anyway, it's worth seeing. I think the Netflix documentary is the best one of the. I think I've seen 3 on the same subject, and that one is the best one. Really good interviews with all the key players. Demolition Man, and we also have another person that's come in through the door. Blue Collar Loser in the house.
Such a classic movie. God almighty.
Gang's all here. Blue, have you met Kung Fu Hot Dog before?
No, I've been listening. Well, I've obviously been in chat for the past couple of hours listening.
How you doing, Blue?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Blue, I got to tell you, mate, 1993, Warner Brothers in Leicester Square reopened their cinema. This movie and The Fugitive, because Harrison Ford turned up for the opening and put his handcuffs in the cement and then they covered it over.
Yeah.
So I saw these films and Cliffhanger more or less the same time. It was the best time I had, seeing these films. It felt special.
Yeah, Cliffhanger was on at the Odeon Leicester Square, while The Fugitive and Demolition Man were both on at the Warner West End. I remember.
It was Stallone's comeback, basically, and bloody hell, Demolition Man. The stuff. The 3 seashells. I still can't figure that one out, dude. If you don't want to tell me.
No, you don't want to know.
I'm looking so
use the 3 seashells.
I'm looking so forward to
Sandra Bullock. Oh my God, how
she is great in this
film, man.
Yeah,
Sandra Bullock. The high five like this.
So Northern, this is your choice before this rambling drunkard interrupted us. Why did you pick this film? Tell us what's great about it.
Well, because I watched it last Saturday, and it's one of those films that just gets better and smarter every time you watch it. I think people kind of saw it as just this little funny little sci-fi action adventure with Stallone, but even though he's playing this satire of every action character he's played, he does kind of give him some layers. I mean, because him and Wesley Snipes are kind of like the flip sides of the extremes, like because they're in this very utopian society where everything that's bad is banned, murder, everything, even the fun stuff like alcohol, blah blah blah. And these, you got these two chaotic guys from a very chaotic century thrown in there, and it's they're like both sides of the extremes. Well, Sylvester Stallone still has a moral compass. He's like, yeah, but we need a little bit of chaos sometimes to sort of shake things up. Well, Wesley Snipes is like the guy who really wants to cause destruction wherever he goes. He's the mentally unstable one that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah,
and it's very good.
Stallone can take care of him. I will look after Sandra Bullock. Aaron Charman observed it turned out to be a documentary. Yeah, there's lots of things. Lots of things predicted in this film that have since come to pass. And shout out to Aaron as well, because he was one of the people that turned up for the London meetup and bought a copy of my book. Hope you're enjoying it. That is
Lance, did you write a book?
Typos. Yeah, I wrote a book. I don't think Kung Fu Hot Dog's got his copy yet, though. So you'll need to purchase. Yeah, okay. So what would you give it out of 10?
I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It just gets better every time you watch it. Wesley Snipes is such a fun villain. I mean, he is having a ball here. He gets the best lines. He's totally evil. He's killing innocent people, but he's having so much fun doing it. You almost kind of laugh along with him, even though
it's like the only role that he does where he's not taking himself so seriously, and he's just chewing up the scenery and having a good time with everything that he's doing. You know what I mean?
It kind of does take the mickey out of totalitarianism. It's like if you keep aiming for the perfect society, then you're taking the choice away from people, and eventually people like Simon Phoenix or Spartan, they're going to rebel against this. And we got Edgar Friendly, who is rebelling against this, and he's kind of lost everything because of it.
I mean, a couple of interesting trivia things. The abseil that they do down from the helicopter at the beginning. At the time, I don't know if it's been topped since, but at the time, that was the world record for the highest abseil from a helicopter that was moving at the time on film or television. And one of the building that they used for the metro sort of downtown, I think police station or whatever, in the film, is actually really a prison in real life, which I think is quite ironic. I'll show it to you quickly. And I think this building's been used in other films as well. Actually, it looks very familiar. But yeah, so that's actually Metro. The cryo prison set, Metro Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles, is actually a prison. So there you go.
May I just quickly say just a little something about this film?
Yeah,
it's okay.
please.
Literally just a few moments.
No, go for it.
I don't like it.
Yeah, well,
I don't like it. I don't like it, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. There is a reason that I don't like it. I think this whole utopia, dystopia, oh, look at how perfect our world is. Oh, no, it's not. It's really, really flawed. It was done far better by Paul Verhoeven and other people prior.
Total Recall.
Not just Total Recall.
And Robocop.
Yeah, but it's just. I think by the time we got Demolition Man, I think it was old hat. It had already been done to death. I don't rate it. I don't rate it at all. It doesn't even crop up on my rating, on my radar at all. Like I say, I think this kind of satire or attempt at satire, I think, has been done far better, far more times by far more talented directors and writers. So sorry for pissing on everybody's strawberries.
No,
I disagree.
I hadn't said anything when I went to see this. I have to say, I felt the same, which is why I don't own it, and I haven't watched it since I saw it at the cinema. But obviously, with everything that's happened recently, I felt I needed to reevaluate it. But the copy that I got of it didn't play, annoyingly. So I still haven't watched it, and I feel I need to watch it. I suspect I'll probably like it more now. But, yeah, at the time it felt very old hat, and I felt Stallone wasn't doing anything I hadn't seen before. The best thing in it was definitely Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
You know, by far.
By a mile.
So, yeah. Yeah, so ratings out of 10 then for this.
0.
0.
Jesus.
Come on, you can't give it 0. It's got some good things about it.
I'll give it 2.
2. Okay, Inside Man.
Just for
giving
the
it
cast.
2. Northern, what's your rating?
Yeah, I give it a 10 out of 10. No,
Oh my God.
better. It has.
Opposite
I still
ends
stand
of
by it.
Toxic.
It's a 10 out of 10. I don't
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's so good, and it gets, you know, it gets better really quickly. It gets better on repeated watchings because you catch stuff that you didn't catch before. Like you can listen when people swear. Like it's, you know, when they do it and it's in your face, it's funny, but it's even funnier listening to like someone randomly swear. And if you listen close, you can hear somewhere in the background that you've been fined 1 credit.
That's interesting. Blue, what would you give this movie out of 10?
God, it's been a while. It probably is probably 8 out of 10 film. I wonder, we have to rewatch sometimes if we have a fondness for this film because it got so much right at the time. Was it a 10 out of 10 or is it 10 out of 10 now because of all this shit's actually happening? So I would say 8 right now, but I would be interested in rewatching with these guys eventually.
Yeah, I do need to rewatch it. Because it's past 1990. Inside Man don't like it. No, mate, you got that wrong. If it's past 1983, Inside Man doesn't like it.
Yeah.
To be fair,
Gordon says it's big budget trash.
Yeah. To be fair to Inside Man, granted, it's not a dry 1970s Italian cinema verde.
There's nothing dry about 1970s Italian movies, mate.
That is true. Okay, well, look, we're gonna wrap it up there, which means Hot Dog managed to stay for the whole thing.
Nice.
So yeah, just to update people in case you've realised my voice is not at its best. I still have some ongoing health issues. They're not going to stop me from presenting any of the stuff online, but I will be seconding the Inside Man for some of my industry interviews, just in case either my voice goes or my internet goes, which has happened a couple of times, including on interview 100 with Critical Drinker and Jason Flemyng. I got cut off for about 2 minutes, but they just carried on talking like old mates, and they had already met through me before, so that all worked out quite well. But yeah, so coming up, we've got on Sunday, subject to post-rave, status. We've got our special Chew the Fat Crimson October, which was due to happen last Sunday, but the Inside Man hadn't paid his internet bill, so we weren't able to do it. So we're going to talk about these 2 films. We're going to rate them in 5 different categories and see which one comes out on top. I mean, they're both good movies. I've seen them both at the cinema, and in fact, I took my parents to see the opening night of Hunt for Red October, and I have an original Hunt for Red October UK cinema quad.
Lucky you.
Yeah, still have that. Might be prepared to sell that to somebody because, I need money, and the poster's sitting in a tube. So, yeah, there we go. So that's coming out soon. Yeah, in case people don't know, then I've got a book out. I do have a book out. It's all about films. It's all about my life at the cinema from the 1970s with the first film that I saw with my parents, right up to one of the final entries. And funnily enough, it was originally the last entry in the book, but then I remembered a story which made me change that. Top Gun Maverick is kind of where it ends. So, and one of the earlier films I see is Top Gun with my very first girlfriend. So you've got the story of me going to the cinema to see Top Gun in almost the same seats in the same auditoria as where I would then sit some, 30 something years later watching Top Gun Maverick with my casting director about to go through my divorce. How things come full circle. So it's which films I saw, where I saw them, about the cinemas, the impact that the films had on me at the time, and so on. Pete's Dragon, definitely, I think Pete's Dragon is in it. I think it is. Because I saw that with my nan. It definitely, I think it's either one of the films I picked or it gets a mention, but it's definitely in there. So I went to see that with my grandmother. And the last film I saw with my grandmother was The Sea Wolves, and The Sea Wolves is also in the book. So there's 128 movies in the book in total, 101 plus, the plus being 27. So, and with a foreword by the critical drinker, no less. Toxic's also got a book out, which is a sort of, cop type thing. I'm not describing that very well, Toxic. Do you want to pitch it in 30 seconds?
Slapdash is a Kansas City crime novel about an ex-military vet who worked in military intelligence, goes on the wrong side of the law, and finds himself embroiled in a war once he's released from prison between a biker club in the Midwest and the Kansas City Mafia, with the feds hot on his trail as well.
It's quite funny because there's another book with the same name, of which the cover, I just think this cover's very gay, so I can see why you didn't go with that one.
Oh, that's hot though. Damn, I should have went with that. That's hot.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You might have sold more copies because women are, they're into that. But
yeah, they are.
Yeah, here we go. He opted for a dirty street. Tell it like it is. So there we go. There is the novel in question. Kung Fu Hot Dog, you got anything you want to plug, mate, before we sign off?
No, I'm just looking for the next big video game story scandal for my channel. And I have actually shot a Daredevil season 1 and 2 overview. I might upload it. I watched it today. I thought, okay, it might be good. I might not release it. It depends. But saw the first 2 episodes and it wasn't bad. But I prefer the Netflix series before.
So this is the new one that's just sort of come out.
Yeah, it feels like Marvel and Disney are trying to entice customers to come back to them. And I felt some of the first episode was a bit rushed in terms of narrative. It's like, you got 8 episodes to go. You could have probably filled it out a bit more nicely. But there were some nice little nods here and there. But I just thought, is it nostalgia or are they genuinely trying to create something good again? So the jury's out on that one.
Okay, alternative cover for Slapdash. Who could resist that hunky piece of meat on the front? Yeah, okay. Well, do check out Kung Fu Hot Dog's channel because it's wicked.
And that was an impulsive buy, by the way, that I picked up.
Oh, let me see that. Hold on a second. Let's Adrift in Tokyo.
Yeah, 2007. It was £10, and it's going for a lot more online. But I thought, looks interesting, indie Japanese film, and apparently it's really, really good.
Let me know what it's like.
I will do. Yeah, absolutely.
There's always some really good foreign titles out there, and I love tracking those down or being recommended. Kung Fu Hot Dog, you just got another sub. Drunken Bald Man, do you have anything coming up? Sorry, blue collar.
No, tomorrow we're actually going to watch I guess in some kind of relation to Daredevil's out, Born Again. I figured the Ben Affleck Daredevil. It's been a while since I've watched it, and it's a cheesy film for what it is. But you know what? Michael Clark Duncan is excellent for what he's given.
He's good as Kingpin, isn't he?
He is. And well, small tangent. You know why the casting was so good for Lance is because back then none of the marketing ever talked about his skin color. He just existed. He was epic. And during the film, they never one time mentioned Kingpin being black. He's just a big menacing figure, and the guy put on like, what was it, 45 pounds to have that big Michael Clark Duncan, already a big dude, but he was that much more imposing, and you feel it when he's Kingpin. And of course, Colin Farrell, it is cheesy, but he's having a time of his life in that film. He is going bananas. And but yeah, that's going to be because right now Born Again's out right now. Me and Toxic tonight will be recording another for episode 3 video, and just Lance, after your I wouldn't say after your, but like in relation to you, like how we did the Acolyte, Rings of Power, I think me and Toxic are as fair and balanced possible because, again, I'm tired of like either Born Again's like 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. It's not. It's flawed, but like I am very bored of YouTube clickbait articles like this is the worst thing ever fucking made. It's not. Stop saying this is like a 1 out of 10 and it's horrible. It's got problems, but it's still watchable, I think.
All right. Yeah, I think well, we're all about fair and balanced reviews here, and like I say, we mainly kind of pick things in advance we want to recommend because rather talk about stuff we want you to watch than whinge for ages. But occasionally we go wrong, and we did give the Acolyte a fair shake. Everybody was going before it was released, and I said no, I'm not going to do that, and actually I'm going to check it out. And me and Blue stupidly committed to doing a weekly stream on it. And if you watch it, you can see us get into we endure more pain as that goes on. It's entertaining to watch. I'm trying to be constantly optimistic, and Blue is just like drinking more alcohol in each episode. Going, oh God, I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, like Lance, you know, this last year, like Fallout again, it's like ask 10 people, 5 hated it, 5 loved it, but the ratings and the overall user reviews, Fallout, it's getting a season 2, and
I liked Fallout. I thought it captured the show, captured the game really well.
I truly was YouTube, and I guarantee I found 5 reviewers say this is awesome, 5 reviewers saying this is shit. Who's right? So, and right now, Daredevil Born Again, I've seen the past week, I've seen 5 channels say this show is fantastic, 5 channels say this show is awful. So who do you? It depends on how you want to look at it, man.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Northern, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out unless you had anything you wanted to plug quickly.
No, because I think you want to wrap it up. I can always talk about another time or whatever.
Do check out Northern's streams on Fridays where he picks a film and chats about it for quite a long time. So, yeah.
Not this week. This Saturday, I'll be doing something different, talking about both of the Tom Cruise, Jack Reacher movies since the series 3 is still relevant at the moment.
So you're picking out 2 movies and talking about them for quite a long time.
Yeah, it will be done a bit different. I won't be just going through the whole movie. It'll just be a quick run through of the plot, and then we talk about what works, what doesn't, blah blah blah.
Sure.
Usual.
All right. Well, look, just reminds me to say thank you to the people that have been watching. I'm glad the viewing figures creeped up as time went on, and also thanks to my usual panel, including Enzo, who had to leave earlier, the Inside Man, Northern English Bastard, Lord of Toxicity, Blue Collar Loser, and special guest tonight, Kung Fu Hot Dog. I meant to have a Hong Kong Fooey clip, especially for you, and I completely forgot to cue that up, so you'll just have to listen to our song instead.